Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you.
Perfect. One wee second, I'll just work on getting my camera on. Hi.
Hi. Oh my gosh, you look so pretty. I like your
Oh,
dress
thank you.
shirt.
It's trying to do a little bit of content recording as well before I jumped on, so multitasking, but we're getting there. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, yeah. Yeah. Thank goodness it's Friday.
Yeah, it's quite the week.
Sorry?
It's quite the week always, and then you get to Friday and it's so nice.
And it's Halloween weekend, which is even better.
Love Halloween. It's always been my favorite ever since I was a
I am a big fan. I have sent my fiance out to buy pumpkins right now.
kid.
I was like, there's no way I'm doing Halloween without getting to carve a pumpkin.
Yeah. It was funny. I was watching a video because Halloween started in Ireland, so I was like trying to figure out which traditions were like from Ireland and which were from here. And the girl I was watching was like, I don't know how this pumpkin carving became a thing, but that's such an American thing. I
You
was
know
like,
what?
well, it's a fun thing.
Just
So
copying a lot from America, I think.
I love finding holidays that like have stems in other countries that we just celebrate different here.
Hmm. So I think it's really strange. Everyone started, I think, because we're all kind of in the house.
Yeah.
Everyone started celebrating, which is nice. But I actually got really confused the other day. I was like, it's Halloween is Saturday, isn't it?
Yeah. I like had it marked in my thing. I wasn't sure if I was going to be working on Halloween or not. And then
Okay.
I wasn't sure my uncle is getting married on Halloween. So I was
Oh,
like, I don't know if I'll be like at the wedding or not. They changed it to just the two of them, like at the courthouse or something since COVID. But I was just like, I don't know where I'm going to be Halloween.
yeah,
So
you're
I
just
like
not
didn't make plans. And then work was like, are you coming in Halloween? I was like, sure, why not?
sure. And just dropping Chloe a little message to let her know I'm on.
Like works out so nicely that you guys are like already friends.
I know, because we didn't actually know that each other was applying. Um, sorry, there we go. I didn't know she had come to watch me whenever I competed last year, and she's an amazing girl. We competed before and always kind of stayed friends. And this year, I had entered, but I didn't want to tell her that I had entered because it's like top secret. Um,
Yeah.
so I just messaged her and was like, I think this is your year. You really need to apply. Like, you're going to kill it if you do it. You need to. And she was like, no, I'm too nervous. I don't think I can.
Oh,
And then neither of us knew that because she had told me to apply. And I was like, I don't know. I've got a lot going on. So we didn't actually know until the top 12 was announced to everybody. That's when I saw her photo and I was like, Chloe.
I like didn't know when the announcement was coming out, but I saw you kept posting about going to the gym a lot more. And I was like, all right, Nadia, I see where this is going. And then Miss Universe Ireland reposted it and I was like, so is she competing? And they were like, we can't tell you. And I wanted to be like, no, but it's me. You guys always tell me stuff. And then I saw the announcement. I was just sitting on my couch and I just screamed at the top
You
of
need
my
some
lungs.
like
I was like,
sneaky little updates.
it was so exciting because I was like, I know these two. Like, I don't like know them, but like I follow them both. I've kind of been silently watching for a while.
Oh, that's so that
So
like
I
see
was
your
just so
little
excited.
messages that you commented, they made my day. I was so happy. I was like, Calvin, look.
I like do this thing with people I really admire where I'm like, I am like in a non-creepy way obsessed with you. Like it's like I want to be like you type thing.
You're a hype person. Everyone
Yeah.
needs like hype supportive people. I totally get it. I like there's times when I'm like, look, I'm sorry. I'm not gonna stop commenting because I need you to know you're amazing.
I do that to people constantly. There's a New York pageant queen who was from my area. She's from a town like 20 minutes from me, and she was a redhead as well. And I would see her like constantly out in the city, and I'd be like, Mom, can we go see her? And it just never worked out. And to this day, like I always tell people, I'm like, my green gown I competed with, that was inspired by her. And She like commented on my pictures and I was just like, I'm like in heaven here.
That gown was stunning. It suited you so much. I had a little look through your pageant stuff.
It's gonna be hard to use a different dress this upcoming year, but hopefully next pageant system I'll bring it back.
Whenever you get like attached to a dress as well, or you're just like, you know what, I'm proud of that one.
It's like the only thing I don't like. And everybody tells me, they're like, we get it that you have like the princess style to you, but like you need to go like sexier. I'm like, but the sexier, straightforward gowns aren't as fun. There's like no fabric to play with and take ridiculous pictures in.
It's a hard transition. Like I didn't start pageants until I was 20, 21. So I was quite late starting compared to the pageant world. So I didn't have to do it as much, but I still remember my first pageant. I wore like, it's something you would wear to like a beach wedding. It was ridiculous. It is not a pageant dress at all, but I never even watched a pageant. I only did it because someone told me I couldn't do it.
Well, that's a good way to prove I'm wrong.
So needless to say, I learned after that.
It took my family by surprise doing pageants. They were like, what? You're doing what? I was like, well, I'm doing this thing. I'm going to see how it works out.
Might as well. You never know what could come from it.
I remember I jokingly texted whoever, I don't know who runs the Miss Universe Ireland social media, but I'll always tell them, like, I'm moving to Ireland, I'm going to compete. And they're always like, you should.
Between Brittany and I think it's mainly Brittany, but I think that I think Miss Universe Ireland does it as well, like whenever she just wins like kind of a joint. But I definitely know Brittany has access to it. She would reply to a lot of the messages and stuff.
Yeah.
So
I've had like messages from Brittany and she's like, yeah, it's my job as a director. I'm like, oh, hi, Britt. And then sometimes somebody will be talking about everybody in general. And I'm like, okay, maybe that's not the same person.
Well, there is a small team behind Miss Universe Ireland, but they're all amazing. They're all so cool.
It seems it. I mean, it really takes a team to put together consistently the past 3 years now, coming on to 4. Such an amazing pageant. And each year from Colleen to Fig, I'm always like, how are they consistently putting out amazing talent? They're finding like the best of the best.
Yeah. No, they genuinely do. I think it's the one pageant that I kind of, the only pageant I would have competed in the past 2 years. I wouldn't have considered any others. And it's only because I'd heard such amazing things and I'd seen kind of the production they put on, but how much support and training they gave the girls as well. And like Brittany, if I text her right now, she'd be back to me within 5-10 minutes.
Oh wow.
Or she'd be like, look, let's do a video call here. Like the support is amazing, and the same with the rest of the team. They're so good. They're so hands-on with everyone individually. It just makes it a lot more fun as well. You're not as stressed or pressured.
Yeah.
But it's good.
I was like anxious going into the system because of the other girls I competed with, everybody had done at least one pageant prior. And I was the youngest by like a lot. So I was just kind of like, you guys are all so grown up and you're in like your forever jobs and have this experience. And I'm just here like, hi, first time. And our director was just like, it's okay to have silly questions. I don't remember what I asked her about. It was something really silly. I was like, is this something I need to worry about? She's like, no, not at all. It was just super nice. And she's always like kind of helping me make sure that everything stays. It's great.
No, it is. It's good whenever you get a good director. And honestly, no question is a silly question in my experience. That's something I've learned.
Yeah.
Like I was sitting in the hairdressers before they closed and just getting like a little trim. But just before I applied for Miss Universe, I got my hair cut and I texted Brittany and was like, is my hair too short? Are you sure? But those were the silly things, but she took so much time for them, so it was good.
Hi, Chloe.
Oh gosh, this is so bright. I just turned my ring light on.
That's what when I came on, I was already on the call and I couldn't see myself yet, and I was like reaching for the ring light.
Oh God. So how is everyone? Oh, is my internet playing up again?
No, I think you're are you further from your mic, Lexi, or?
Yeah, hold on.
Sorry.
All right, is that better?
Oh, a lot better.
Yeah.
Did it to me during my interview for Miss New York, and I was like, oh goodness. It's great. Let me find where I put my questions for you guys. There we go.
You look beautiful, Lexi, and you too, Nadia. You both look gorgeous.
This is just really awesome that this is happening.
Of course.
Yeah, I'm so excited because we've been chatting for years, and then it's nice to finally meet you and have a little chat and get to know each other. I'm so excited to hear all about Miss New York and your pageants, and yeah. Hopefully come visit Ireland someday. I actually love New York. It's so much fun. I would love to live there someday.
I enjoy when I like live 6 hours from the city, but we can like drive down for a weekend. We've done that before because I love Broadway. And my parents are good about taking me down to see like the one actress, Sierra Boggess, I adore. Kept trying for a couple of years to see her, kept missing her. So we finally just took like a week or a weekend trip down, met her, and like came home a few days later. So I'm really lucky that even though at times I feel like I live so far from the city, I can just drive down if need be.
What was your favorite Broadway musical?
I think right now it has to be Six. I grew up just loving all the stories of the wives and was just very fascinated by that. And I never thought it would be like a musical. So then it became a musical and I was like, these are my two favorite things combined. And before that, it was always Phantom.
Yeah, I've always wanted to see that live. I've heard it's the best one. It's always sold out though, isn't it, in New York?
I think so, or pretty close to. I guess, sold out because it's so popular and it's the longest running.
Yeah, I remember when I was in New York, all the shows were sold out that night, but we managed to get tickets for the Gloria Estefan On Your Feet. Have you seen that one?
I haven't seen it, but I saw their Tony Award performances.
Yeah, it was so much fun. The energy was amazing. They had everyone in the room doing the conga. It was so much fun.
I want to go back to Ireland. I convinced my parents for my 16th birthday to take me because I have a friend in Belfast, right by Nadia. So I was like, I know that my family, heritage-wise, is from the south near like Cork and Waterford. But I was like, I want to meet my friend. So we did like England and then we jumped over and ended up Belfast being our favorite part of that trip because of how friendly the city is, how walkable it is.
I love Belfast. It's so much fun. And there's lots to do as well.
Yeah. And next time that you're over, you can let me know. And we'll
do for sure.
Something fun.
We can go on a road trip together.
Yes, Chloe can come up. She can jump on the train and come up to us as well.
We can just sing songs. So how have you been finding COVID in the US? Has it been tough where you live or not as bad as the city centre?
It's not been as bad as it could be. I mean, it's definitely not good, but we've been doing okay. We were one of the first to reopen in our state just because our county did a really good job at first. They told us in March, and I was supposed to have school the day we shut down. And I remember I got like really stressed sick and it was right before St. Patty's. And I was society to sort of advertise and be like, hey, we have like a whole club and we're going to advertise on Patty's. And we got the word that the school shut down. And we had until that Thursday to find out if our city parade was going to be shut down. And that was going to be like my first appearance with the sash and like my title, and then of course my club. So we get the text that Thursday and they're like, hey, like parade is canceled. We know it's a bummer, but this is bad. And then shut down. Every 2 weeks, they're like, we're going to keep extending. It was hard, but I'm happy that we are in a place where we can be reopened enough. I do not mind having to wear masks everywhere. It's kind of about for Ireland.
Well, we are right now. In the north is a little different from the south, so it kind of varies where you are. I actually live in Donegal. I'm from Derry, but Donegal is basically in like a 6-week lockdown where we can't go to restaurants and we can't have our hair done or go to the nail salon. So that's going to be pretty hard for us pageant girls, but if it keeps people safe and if this lockdown helps contain the virus, then we don't even mind doing it. It's the safety of the people that really matters most right now. But it's sad too to see the businesses suffer like that. You hear of lots of restaurants saying they probably won't reopen after everything gets lifted, because it's the second time that's happened here. It happened for a few months and then we reopened for a few months, and it's sad to see them have to shut down again. But it's sad for local businesses. But there's been so many people here, and even a lot of the girls in the Miss Universe Ireland crew, they've been promoting local businesses, Nadia being one of them. She shared a huge list of local businesses the other day, and it's people like that that's really the heroes in our community, trying to encourage everyone to shop locally and save local businesses, which is nice.
I think it's just about drawing a little bit of light to those little gems that we all kind of know about in your area, but you only know about them if you've been told by a friend, or if you stumble across them and they either they can't really invest or afford to do big marketing campaigns, especially now. So especially coming up to Christmas, like that could save a little bit of custom at Christmas, could save a business.
Yeah.
And in Belfast it's slightly different to where Chloe is in Donegal. So we went into 4-week kind of semi-lockdown, so it was more close contact services like salons and beauticians all had to close, PTs, and hospitality services had to close as well. But you can take food out, you can take coffee out, and gyms can stay open. But yeah, it's more close contact. Now that for us is until I think the 16th of November. It was only a 4-week, and then they're going to reevaluate it and see if they can open again. So fingers crossed. But schools are going back on Monday, which I think a lot of people didn't expect, but they are.
Yeah. Oh, we had a question come in about where'd it go? All right. How would you guys use your platforms to keep morale high during this pandemic?
Do you want to go first, Chloe, or shall I?
Well, for me, I'm using my platforms to promote, well, this is kind of my backstory. At the start of lockdown, I worked in a public job where I would have to have contact with lots of people every day. And I took it upon myself to leave work unpaid for a few months because my nana lives at home. And I didn't want to put her at risk. She means a lot to me. So that got me thinking. There's a lot of elderly people that don't have family to look after them, and they're stuck going through this horrible situation on their own. And when we turn on the news, we're worried about the economy, we're worried about jobs. When the elderly turn on the news, they're worried about their lives because this is so dangerous to them. They're so vulnerable. And I was just thinking I was possibly going to use my platform to try and spread positive messages to the elderly, and I want to make up little care packages to send to the nursing homes and just try and make them feel positive, because it can be a really scary time for them. So I want to use my platform during this time to make them feel comfortable, because I have loved every second of spending my time at home with my little best friend, my Nana. And we are going to dress up tomorrow for Halloween. Her favorite movie is Coco. She's going to be Mama Coco and I'm going to be little Miguel. and we're going to have a beautiful bonding night tomorrow. So I'm so excited for that. And I just want everyone to reach out to an elderly person they might know, whether it's their own family, whether it's a neighbor in their street who they know is lonely. Maybe do a little chore for them, maybe go a little shop for them. Just make them feel a little more at ease, because right now they're the most vulnerable and they've got beautiful stories to tell. And yeah, just making friends with them and bonding with them and just showing them we care right now. I think that's what's most important to me. And that's one thing I realized during lockdown, is how special that generation is. So that's my mission.
You're the sweetest. I love that so much. And it's amazing, Chloe. I actually didn't know that, so that's why I'm all like excited for her.
Oh. Yeah, I haven't really said anything yet, because I'm like in the process of trying to send out emails and stuff, because the care homes are so busy right now, and obviously they're very overwhelmed with everything that's going on. But hopefully I get everything sorted, and even if I help with a few people, that would be amazing.
Did you know Dunelm have a Christmas tree in their store with a little label, and it's got the name of like an older person in a care home who doesn't have a family, and you can buy it for them and they'll send it on?
I love that. I'm going straight to Jonelle and Mill tomorrow to do that. I wonder if the one in Derry does that as well then. I hope so.
I saw it online. But yeah, double check it.
I hope so.
No, obviously you've probably seen from my social media, and my platform is mental health. That's kind of, it's weird to say my platform, that's like my passion in life. It's what I have studied years to kind of work in. It's what I do work in now. And what I'm getting a new job in a couple of weeks, so I'm very excited. And, I think, again, part of my new job is to think about the impact that COVID has had on people of all ages, but a lot specifically my focus is children. And because I think sometimes we can misinterpret children. We don't sometimes listen the way that we should, and it's not out of not wanting to, it's just out of not fully understanding how they communicate. So what in my new job I'm going to do is work with these kids to try and find out what they took from lockdown, what they were scared of, what they're worried of now, maybe what they enjoyed. Was there some aspect that they really thought was positive of being at home all the time? And working with that to develop programs to go in and teach and talk and put interventions in place for younger people. So all in all, with the whole lockdown and coronavirus pandemic, the knock-on of mental health is going to be really, really tough. But I think it's just a case of making it clear what we need to look out for in ourselves, but people that we live with as well, and our friends. Start to identify when your mental health is starting to deteriorate a little bit, and then making sure that they know where they can contact if they need to talk to somebody, and maybe a couple little helpful tips day to day to try and maintain that positive mental well-being just the way you would your physical health. So I think it's just
that's amazing.
Alignment to that.
Yeah, that's such an important topic too, because nowadays as well, it's not as easy to go out with your friends and to notice one is missing. Like usually that's the sort of indication that you would get if someone's struggling with their mental health and the friends are having gatherings and they're noticing someone isn't there, or they aren't interacting. Well, no one's interacting with each other right now. We're all isolated, so it's hard to actually spot when someone's suffering. So it's incredible what you're doing. So amazing to reach out to these people and help with the kids, especially because the brain is such a complex thing. Mm-hmm. And people who aren't trained in that field like you would not have a clue how to deal with that situation. So it's incredible that you're doing that. I'm so proud of you. You inspire me every day. Me and Nadia have been friends for years, and I just love her to bits.
To see why you both are. I mean, Chloe, even you wanting to reach out to the elderly. I work at an independent living facility, and all the time the residents will like ask about our lives, and then the one resident, Ken, he's always like asking me, he's like, Lexi, how's school? I'll be like, well, it's all virtual, not really a huge fan of that. And then he'll tell me a story about his, I believe it's a granddaughter, and how she's faring with school. And I keep that like in mind, where even if there are nights where they're a little meaner to us, I try to keep in mind, you know, they haven't been able to see their family until recently. And we did try to set up like FaceTime and stuff, but they're older, they're not exactly tech savvy. And even the adults, like where I work, aren't tech savvy either. So they asked a lot of us younger people. And we were delivering door to door their meals. So I'd write on the inside of the little boxes just quotes I could find, just letting them know that they are appreciated and loved. Because I was like, you can't see your family. And I know I would go absolutely berserk if I couldn't see my family for long periods of time.
That's
so sweet of you.
Like a nice little surprise whenever they open their meals.
I'll still do it for Ken's wife. She doesn't come down for dinner every night. So if I can get her box before anybody else, I'll like write a quick little something for her. And he's always telling me how much she appreciates that.
Aww. That's so sweet. That's the thing. That generation have been through so much. And it's the last generation that can say they've been through war times. And the next generation would be my parents' generation after that. And they would be born when the late 60s. So that generation's completely missing out on everything that the previous generation have been through. We should use this time right now to hear their stories and remember them forever so that we can pass them on and share them, because they have so much to tell. Like, I know even my Nana has so many stories to tell, but she's so hilarious. I just love her. And yeah, we just keep their memory alive, kind of like Coco, in a way.
It's my favorite as well. I love
so
that
sweet.
Tradition. It was told to me right after my uncle passed unexpectedly, so I like latched onto that story. And just then Coco came out, I think a few months after. That was 2017 or 2018. I was just like, it's mainstream now. People will know what I'm talking about. And I watch it all the time. It's one of the best. I need more representational movies like that.
Yeah. It's a beautiful representation of the afterlife as well.
I really hope that's what it's like, because that is so cool how like the details of how it's like the older, almost Aztec-y Maya type buildings right up to the modern. I love how it has a little piece of history.
They should make a Coco Land in Disney World. I would totally go.
I would love that. That'd be amazing.
That's the thing. Like places like Disney World and stuff now must be losing out in a lot with COVID as well, because a lot of people, even if it is still open, are afraid to go as well. It's the entire world is just basically in shutdown, and I never in a million years would have expected this to happen. If someone had have gathered us together last year and said, next year there's going to be a global pandemic and you will all be isolating at home for the guts of a year, we would never believe them.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like everyone will come out of this a lot more grateful for everything in life. Grateful for a hug, grateful for a handshake. It's the little things like that that really make you realize now what's important. So
it's definitely hard. I don't think people were quite used to not being able to immediately go and see friends, loved ones. And then, at least here in the States, we didn't take it seriously at first. Even up to now, there are some people who don't believe it's an actual issue, and that's a little hard for me to grasp because people have quite literally died. And every time here somebody says, oh, it's a political thing, it'll go away after election day. I'm like, and then how do you explain the deaths and the illnesses in the other countries that have nothing to do with election day? It just doesn't make sense.
I know. So how is that over there? Is there much fighting or negativity? It's sad to see how divided America is right now. More than anything, you're all the same and you should be respecting each other's views. And the fighting, I don't understand that. Like, it makes me sad because America's my favorite country, full of my favorite people. Literally, most of my best friends live there. And I love going to visit. I'm probably in America more than I visit any other country in the world. Like when I get on a plane, I'm most likely going to America. I love the people, love the atmosphere, and I love how welcoming they are to the Irish as well. It's so sweet. So to see that they're disagreeing and fighting, that makes me sad.
Definitely hard, and people are complaining about all sorts of things that are beyond the control. Like Miss USA this year, they like said there's not going to be like official hair makeup people, and people were flipping over that. I want to be like, at least these girls still get to go have that experience though. And even for Miss Universe Ireland, like it's 12 semifinalists and then cutting down to, I believe they said 6. It's every pageant out there is trying their best right now to make sure everybody still gets that experience, and to even with their current title holders who I feel like almost had their reigns almost halted because of COVID, not knowing how they're going to do appearances, how they're going to work with their platforms more. It's not easy to be any manner, local, country, national.
And even the girls who have their handovers and they have this vision of in their head of what they want to wear to their handover and how it's going to go for them, and they're not getting to do it. A lot of these countries aren't even sending people, so these poor girls who've spent the last year working really hard don't even get to experience that beautiful moment of their handover, which is quite sad. But they'll all be respected, and they'll go down in history of being the queens who had to deal with all of this, and something they could tell their grandkids.
I think it's definitely going to be one of those years where people are going to be like, yeah, who was 2020 title holder? You'll be able to be like, well, there wasn't as many as there usually were, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Even being top 12 now in Miss Universe Ireland, I'm like, wow, I was the top 12 finalist that year where everything was virtual. That global pandemic year, 2020. I'll always remember 2020 as that year that started off tough, and then come the end, us girls gathered together and we managed to make each other's experience amazing. Like we've had Zoom calls for the past few nights with the girls, and even getting to know all these inspiring different girls, that has been amazing for me. And I feel like I'm going to take away from this like friendships with all those girls, and I'm just so excited for the future. And yeah, I'm so excited to watch every girl's journey, and just even being here right now, I am the most grateful person in the world. And this pageant has given me something to look forward to during these dark times. And I really want to thank the Miss Universe Ireland Corporation for doing that, to even putting this pageant on, even though regardless of the situation, they're still giving us girls hope and something to look forward to, which is amazing. It's uplifting.
They've really been like made do their work to their full extent this year, having plan A, plan B, right through to plan Z, with every single day changes, and then communicating with us to let us know how the changes kind of impact us. Like even getting our packages over the past few days, our top 12 finalist packages. So typically those are things that you would get when you're going down to the final, or you're doing your photo shoots, but they had to ship them from Miami. So like,
how did everything come so quick?
I know.
Although mine isn't here yet, and I think it's because my delivery guy's too lazy to come to my house, because my house is on an island, but it's the last house on the island, so it actually takes about 15 minutes from the start of the island to get to where my house is. And sometimes the delivery drivers call and they'd be like, is it okay if we leave your parcel at the halfway house, which is like 20 minutes away? And I'd be like, okay, it's fine, I'll go get it. But my mom has been getting emails about packages that she should have got that should have been delivered and they haven't been, and we just think the delivery drivers are too lazy to come down here, and they're probably waiting to the end of the week when they have everything gathered, and then they'll take it.
You have a room full of packages at the halfway house, Chloe.
We've come to that decision today that must be what's happening, because one of our packages is supposed to be delivered last Saturday, and every day since that they're like, oh, we might bring it out for delivery today.
It's gonna be agonizing knowing it's coming, and there's a few of my prize packages from Miss New York. I'd get texts and be like, okay, I dropped it in the mail today. And I would go like religiously every day, check our mailbox, be there when the mail person was there. And even just knowing it was getting there, killer. So I can't imagine.
That was like me. We had a joke yesterday. I was like, the postman's prancing around in my sash right now. I know it. He's prancing around in it.
You're going to love the sashes when you get yours.
I'll not want to take it off when it comes.
The hard part is having to take it off at the end of the day. You guys got such nice sashes too. Like usually the sashes aren't as glitzy for finalists or local title holders. I'm just like, I wish my system was like that.
Oh, I know. It's amazing. I was so shocked when I got it. I was like,
I was so shocked as well when I saw the video that Brittany posted. I was like, oh my goodness, that is the local sash. That is incredible. I've never seen anything like that. Even my international sash for Grand was not even that glamorous.
There was a question about how do you feel Brexit will be affecting your lives?
This is a really difficult one to answer, actually, because there's so much uncertainty surrounding Brexit right now that it's really, really hard to tell. I know for me, constantly commuting between north and south because of I was born and raised in the north and I currently live in the south, and I'm literally 20 minutes from the border and I pass it every day just doing daily activities. So if there's like a hard border and security searches going to and from the north and south, that would be quite an issue for me because I do it on the daily basis. But I kind of wish that Brexit never had happened, just so we don't have this fear of the unknown, because I just like knowing what's going to happen and I just don't like this fear of the unknown. But I hope everything works out okay. Yeah.
No, exactly what Chloe said. It's something that me personally over the past few months I have not been looking into it too much with everything
Neither. I think everyone's sick of it now. We all looked into it 4 years ago when they voted, and because it still hasn't happened 4 years later, we've just let it swoop over our heads.
And to be honest, there haven't been many solid updates, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like Chloe said, there's still so much uncertainty around it. Nobody really knows. I don't think anyone really knows how it's going to impact us until it happens. Until it's final. On a more kind of individual level for me, like work-wise and things, I live in Belfast now. My work is funded locally by funding pots because it's a charity that I work for. So it should not impact that too much because it is education and mental health. However, I do have family. My stepdad and his family are from across the border. So again, traveling back and forth from family and to see my stepbrother and sister might become more difficult, but we don't know.
Yeah.
What is the thing that you love most about Ireland? Like being Irish, when people come to Ireland, what are the top things you have to be like, this is what I love about my country?
I love this question so much. I love it when it comes up because I get to like brag about people. No, honestly, what I love the most about being from here, about living here, about Ireland as a whole is the people. No matter,
I was just gonna say that as well.
Yeah, no matter where you go, I always say it's not like a country, it's like a big community, because anywhere you go, people will talk to you and you will have conversations with people you've never met and may never meet again, and you're made feel welcome very quickly. So, and anyone that's come to visit me has felt the same. So I do think it's that little, we call it banter, it's that little bit of witty banter that comes along with meeting Irish people. And then second to that, obviously, we're so lucky to have such gorgeous landscapes and so many places to go exploring and hiking, and it's stunning, and it's something that I try to do a lot more. And I think especially with COVID happening, people are starting to appreciate even more so what we do have more locally. But yeah,
it's gorgeous. The scenery is beautiful. Our mountains, it is a breath of fresh air, really. I always said if we had the weather here in Ireland, we would never have to leave for anything. I wouldn't even have a passport. If we had the weather in Ireland, I wouldn't have a passport.
Yeah, if we get a bit more sun, it would be great.
Yeah, that's one thing I actually really want to do. I would love to, for a vacation, do a tour of Ireland, because I feel like there's so much more to it that I still haven't seen. I was actually looking at Ireland Instagram pages a few days ago, and down like very south of the country, there is some beautiful spots that I never even knew existed, and I have put it on my bucket list that I need to go touring the south of the country, because I'm ashamed to say that I haven't seen a lot of the south of the country. So I want to make it my mission to find the beauty in my own country. And I feel like a lot of people will be doing that now with COVID. There'll be a lot of people afraid to travel, and it'll be amazing to have the tourism locally as well. And like Nadia said, the people are amazing. Even I feel like a tourist when I'm here, even when I go to places like Belfast and when I go to places like Dublin, because I'm not from those places. They make me feel so welcome. Like, oh, is it your first time in Dublin? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? I recommend you do this. They're so helpful. And even though we're from the country, they still make sure we feel so welcome. And I just love exploring it. And it's a beautiful place to be, beautiful place to be from. And I feel so lucky, especially this year, out of all the places in the world to be stuck, I'm glad that it's beautiful Ireland.
My hometown is very pretty. It's just, we have this famous lift bridge. It just goes up instead of like a traditional, like, if you think about Tower Bridge in London, where it drawbridge traditional, our lift bridge just goes straight up. It's terrified me since I was a kid, and I never just like up forwards, I guess.
Oh my goodness.
It's crazy. And I never appreciated it until it went under construction right before, I want to say September of 2019. And it was supposed to be done in a few weeks here. And we just got word that they're missing parts for it still. So it's going to be until February. No. And this bridge cuts literally right through the middle of our town. And there's so many businesses that have been affected by it. And it adds 10 minutes like walking everywhere. There's almost every like touristy thing to do in my town is on the south side of the bridge, and I live on the north side. So if I want to like walk to any of the cemeteries in town, if I want to go see my best friend, like all that's on the south side. And I just always tell people like, I'm from the wrong side of the tracks, but we still have cool stuff up here. And even in town before COVID, I didn't really think about how pretty it was until I was walking around a lot more, until I had a walk for addiction awareness, and I had some out-of-towners come in for that, and I got to sort of brag about my town, and I was like, you know what, it's not as boring as it may seem here. Oh, I can totally feel
it's one of those. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say it's one of those things that whenever you're somewhere else, you're like, wow, I wish I could live here. And then whenever you speak about your home, you realize, wow, I actually really love my home. That's actually a funny thing that people always say about Ireland. Irish people are known for going to live in England a lot. A lot of them go to live in Liverpool. And when they go there, all they do is boast about Ireland. Like one of my best friends moved there, and she said when you get there, you just start telling everyone how amazing it is. And then you realize how much you actually miss home when you leave home.
I feel like it's kind of revenge for England coming in and trying to destroy the country. Irish people can go over to Ireland and be like, you know, we're pretty great over here.
I swear there's so many of us. We're just scattered everywhere. My friends are just back, well, not just back before COVID from Australia, and they said that like every third or fourth person that you met around Sydney or Melbourne was an Irish person.
That's crazy. And
then they were traveling on to New Zealand, so
I mean, I suppose if you're already in Australia, New Zealand is the appropriate place to go next.
Yeah, a lot of people that I went to school with went to go to Australia to work for a year or two. Actually, one of my best friends, she's just home, came home because of COVID, but she plans to go back again. So it's kind of a thing. I don't know if it's the same down Donegal, but like, especially the town where I'm from, a lot of people were leaving to go to Australia because it makes good money, especially for guys who are wanting to work in construction, and as well because it's sunny.
Yeah, the weather.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's the thing. The seasons can really affect your mood. So because right now in Ireland, it's kind of like that time where you wake up and it's dark, and you go to work and it's dark, and you come home from work and it's still dark. So people like Nadia who work in the mental health field are really important right now, because we have these people that are waking up for work, and it's crazy how the weather actually does change your mood. I feel like it does for me anyway. You do feel more sad and tired, and so people escape to Australia thinking, well, their grass is always greener, but you do always miss home, especially when it comes to Ireland. Ireland
is just such a magical country. I got teased for it all the time in school, because I'd be like, Ireland. Somebody would say Ireland across the room, and I'd be like, ooh, time to special interest here. I don't think anybody was surprised when it turned out that I tried to get into our school. We have an Irish exchange program in Carrigaline. Okay. And I, like, for whatever reason, just did not make it. He pulled names out of a hat, and I was like, but I love Ireland. And I was just learning, like, Irish at the time, too. So I connected with this girl in Ireland, and she ended up not making it into her school's exchange program either. So we always tease each other. We're like, if we had been selected, we would have been partnered up. And it's like my mission. I have to go.
Oh,
you both have.
I think you're.
Go ahead.
Oh, I thought your sound cut out, but then it started again when you started speaking.
What moment in your pageant careers, you've both represented Ireland at the international level before, when were you the most nervous? Because I imagine just being that international title holder, you're like, whoa, suddenly I'm the face of my country.
Will I go first, Nadia, or do you want to go?
That means, yeah.
What, sorry?
Yes, of course, you can go first.
Oh, I was just wondering, because in case you wanted to go first. Well, for me, when I went to internationals, I was just 20 years old. And at that time, I was appointed the title. I never competed in a national to get there. So I feel like competing in that national experience really builds you to go to internationals. So because I didn't have that, I was extremely nervous. So nervous that I don't even think I can put into words how nervous I was. I had really bad stage fright, to the extent where right before going on stage, I would feel numbness the whole way through my legs. I would feel like I'm about to faint. I would feel like I could not breathe. And that's how bad it was. For me, the most nerve-wracking experience was when my national costume didn't arrive on time to Vietnam. So my friend Meg, she's also Nadia's friend. It's so funny. We had the same Miss New Zealand at our pageants, and she was both our friends when we went to internationals. But she dressed me up last minute like Khaleesi, I believe she's called, from Game of Thrones, and plaited my hair at the sides, and I had really long blonde hair at the time. And I went out on that stage with no national costume, with this last minute thing racked up, and I was so afraid because everyone looked at me and thought, that's not a costume. And I actually did get a little bit of backlash on the website underneath my photos, until I explained myself underneath and said, I'm so sorry, the reason why I did not have a proper national costume is because it didn't arrive in time. And all that hate and criticism turned into support, and just even voicing myself and explaining the situation helped everything so much better. I think the thing is, with internationals, some of the fans can be quite ruthless, and you do need to have like thick skin if you're going to go, and sometimes you just have to ignore any negativity and just be yourself and be the best version of yourself and be proud of your achievements. And for me, I was petrified to walk out on that stage because I didn't have the costume that I spent weeks making with me. I the whole situation was a blur. I remember going on afterwards. I was surprised I didn't faint. Started off with the negative comments, like I said, but they all turned to a positive. And I actually ended up getting a lot of support from that situation. So what I learned from that was you could be terrified. You could be so nervous that you feel like you don't even want to go on stage. But when you do it, you'll be so proud of yourself, because the support I got in return when I was at my most fear, or when I was at my most nervousness. See, I'm actually getting quite nervous now. Isn't it funny how that works? As soon as I start talking about nerves and stage fright, I remember I have nerves and I had stage fright. But yeah, what I learned from that experience was just give it your all, try your best, and regardless of what happens, you've stayed true to yourself and you've put your best self forward.
And you did amazing.
Oh, thank you.
You looked amazing. And I remember, I specifically remember when I woke up in my parents' house and checked my phone to check like your voting, like, because there was a lot of voting in yours as well, like participation then by the audience, and to check where you were, and you were doing unbelievable. And it was because you'd voiced yourself and you'd explained yourself, but you'd done it in such a respectful way, that everyone, like you say, everyone turned to support like that. They all appreciated your transparency. And I think that's a really important thing that sometimes is overlooked. It's just, you don't need to be the best at everything. You don't need to have yourself 100% there, but you just need to be transparent and honest about it.
Yeah.
But you were incredible.
Oh, thank you so much, Nadia. It really means a lot coming from you, because you've been my rock from when we competed in Earth together all those years back. We instantly became best friends. Like afterwards, we had trips to Derry together, we had trips to Belfast together. And even when Nadia competed in Miss Universe Ireland last year, I was just her biggest fan in the audience. I was so proud of her. I'm still so proud of her today. And I'm just so blessed to have a friend as amazing as Nadia. And she was incredible at Miss Intercontinental as well. I remember just cheering on from back home, being like, that's my friend.
Yeah, just to answer the question, so Miss Intercontinental, I went away, I was meant to be going away December 2017 to Sri Lanka. And 2 weeks before my flight, there was a security breach and it was all cancelled and pushed out to January 2018, and it was relocated to Egypt. So there was a lot of things changed. There was a lot of outfits changed. They didn't know where we were staying. They had to find new sponsors. So a lot of things were very up in the air, even whenever we were traveling. And honestly, the organizers did their best sort of thing, and it was great, and it was an amazing experience. But because of the security breach, like, there was just so much that they were kind of, in work we always say it's like building a plane while flying. You're trying to catch all the pieces and put it together while you're running. But the time when I was most nervous was just before I stepped on the stage. Sorry, that's a lie. It was about an hour before. Turns out, so our actual international final, they built a marquee by the hotel. It's a big hotel chain that had kind of sponsored us being there. And they built this big massive marquee, and I walked in and saw all the seats for all these people and all of the cameras. And we went backstage, and there was maybe 20 mirrors, and I couldn't see a makeup artist, and I couldn't see a hairdresser. I could see 10 plugs, like sockets, and that was it. And I was like, oh my goodness.
No.
I have to get myself ready. And like, it sounds something so trivial, but because all this hype had been building up, and I had been so nervous, I'll admit I'm not the best at doing makeup and doing hair and things like that. I'm really not. I usually keep it quite natural, but obviously for stage you need a lot more. And so I worked away, I got it done, but I just wasn't feeling 100% my best when I was stepping on that stage. So literally before my foot went out onto the stage where the cameras could see, I like started dancing to myself.
Oh.
When I'm really nervous, I like dance. No matter what level it is, I like dance a little bit behind the stage before I step on, because the dancing.
That's so adorable.
So I was standing, there was Miss Belarus was beside me, and she was like, Ireland, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm really scared. But as soon as you got on the stage, then it was fine. Like, I saw like our contestant coordinator and friendly faces. They kind of lined the side of the stage on purpose, I think, so that we could see them first.
Yeah.
And after the first time, you're fine. It was too busy. You're too busy getting changed to even notice the nerves after that. But it's always where I step my foot on stage. It happened as well at Miss Universe last year, just before I stepped on stage. Terrified.
You did not look nervous. You were a goddess. You were a goddess. The way you moved in that black dress, oh my goodness. You were incredible. You did not step one foot wrong. You were gorgeous.
Oh.
I was so proud. I was like, look at her.
I had to come back for more.
Yes. It's funny how you mentioned the marquee there, because we actually had a situation in Grand where they built like this big marquee over kind of like a little mini Vietnamese Disneyland. So yeah, but because the rain was so bad, they actually had to build this marquee. I think the initial plan was be able to see the castle, be able to see the roller coasters. I think that was the initial plan. But because the weather was so bad and there was so much rain, they had to build this marquee. And when we were doing rehearsals right before, everyone was slipping. Everyone was slipping. And there was one point where we all went out with our hats, our grip, and all the girls started tripping over each other like dominoes. And that night at the preliminaries, I actually went to go on for my swimwear round. And right before, I was like running backstage and I slipped and I like face planted the floor and I hit it really hard. And whatever way I hit the floor hard, I just had like fear running the whole way through my body, because I was just terrified that the second I stepped on stage, I was going to find more water from this rain on the stage and that I was going to slip again. So I convinced myself that I was going to slip again. I was so nervous and I almost like lost control of my arms. My arms sort of flopped because I was so nervous that I felt like that even damaged my performance at the preliminaries, because I was so shook up from literally a few seconds before falling on the ground because the stage had been leaking all day. But that was just one of those experiences, I suppose. One
of those things.
I wouldn't change it for the world, though. We had a great time.
If you guys could go back in time and give one piece of advice to your younger selves, what would it be?
Mine would be to stop standing in your own way and caring so much about what everybody else thinks. I know, especially when I was younger, I was so worried about, will this person like me? What can I do to make them like me more? What will they think if I say this, or if I dress like this, or I do my hair like this? And it really did stop me from taking hold of opportunities that I really should have. Even with modeling, I was terrified. I really wanted to do it, but I was terrified about what people would think, because I was from this smaller town in Oma. I didn't know anybody. I didn't know anyone that modeled. I knew my aunt, but she was like away in London modeling, and I was like, oh, well, I can't do that. But I really just had to kind of push that to the back of my head and rethink, not everyone's going to like you all the time. You can just be authentically you, and that's all people can ask for. But I think that definitely would be my advice. Stop standing in your own way so much.
I was literally just about to say the same thing. I felt like I held myself back from so many experiences. I think that it's actually a thing in Ireland that if we portray ourselves as being confident, then some people confuse that with arrogance. So to show self-confidence and actually go to do jobs like modeling and beauty pageants, we have this fear that we're going to get judged by anyone who doesn't do it, and be judged as in you have confidence, which means you're arrogant. I don't know why like people have that perception here. Like even pageants in general and modeling in general, there's very few people in this country that even go for it. They might have lots of dreams of doing it, but they're afraid, and they're afraid because of what other people say and what other people think. There's nothing arrogant about being proud of yourself and wanting to achieve your dreams. And I know myself, sometimes I just try and be too polite, and I be too afraid to go for things, even like this competition. Like I've wanted to do it for years as well, but I've always had that thought in the back of my mind that, oh, I'm too anxious and I'm not good enough. And I always wanted to do it every single year. I've always wanted to put myself forward to do it, because I think all of us have, like most girls have a dream of going to Miss Universe, and even competing in Miss Universe Ireland, that's a huge achievement for me. But every year I've always put up different excuses as to why I couldn't do it for myself. And I've been my own block. And Nadia, you're probably the same. Like all those years of you modeling, you've probably wanted to put yourself forward for things that you've been too afraid to do. And I feel like that comes with time. Over time, you start to realize, do you want to know what? I am going to go for it. And we always wait around waiting for the right time. And COVID made me realize that now is the right time. Even if I don't succeed, I can always try again. And Nadia is my inspiration for that. Like she's going back 2 years in a row to Miss Universe Ireland, and she is doing incredible. And I'm so proud of her. And every single year she evolves better and stronger. And I've always thought you were amazing, but the hard work and the determination, it really, really shows. And I'm just so proud of you, and you're my inspiration. So if I could speak to my younger self, it's just never be afraid. Keep trying. It doesn't matter how many tries it takes. Bring your best self forward and keep evolving always.
On advice. I have to plug my laptop in, so I will be back in a second. My charger's on the other side of the room.
Okay. I hear my cat picking at my door.
3 of my cats are currently on my bed. That's great. They spend all day in here. I'll be in classes and I just hear them. Okay. How do you manage to keep your confidence and especially your self-esteem high during the competition, even if there's moments where you're thinking to yourself, you're not feeling that confident?
I'll go. I think specifically as well with Miss Universe Ireland, and obviously like Chloe said, this is my second year now. And for honestly, before last year, I had kind of said, I'm not competing again. I don't think I can again. I'm just going to finish where I'm at now. But Miss Universe Ireland had always been a dream of mine. Even I'd seen obviously Joanna Cooper take part, and I'd seen how well she's done. And then whenever I saw Brittany take over and bring the Moxie era to it, it was incredible. So I'd watched it. And I actually travelled down to watch a friend who competed in it the first year as well.
We went together.
Yeah, we went down to see Julianne, and it was just so amazing. It become a dream of mine that I really wanted to get on that stage. I wanted to be a part of that family, and I kind of applied, never really expecting that I would get in, and then obviously I luckily I did. And after meeting Brittany, my self-doubt with it all kind of just went away. The one thing that will always stick to me, and it's the very first thing that she ever said to me in our first call, and she was like, I want you to throw the rule book away. I want you to be you, because we don't know what we need. You need to show us. So they really do ultimately want you to be your unique self. And I think my lack of confidence and self-esteem always would have come from, maybe I don't fit into that mold that they need. Maybe I'm not the right kind of person or the right kind of girl for them. But Miss Universe Ireland don't want the right kind of girl. They want to find out who everyone is. And as you can see, like from the finalists this year as well, we're all so different. Every single one of us. So it kind of further promotes that. But I think with Miss Universe, when I do kind of those days that I'm lacking a little bit, I remind myself, no, they just want to know who I am. So I just need to show them who I am.
And we all love who you are. We love it. Never change, Nadia.
Oh, you're the sweetest. But I think as long as you can remember that, you're just trying to show them who you are. And it is up to them then to decide if that is what they need for the role, or for you to convince them that that's what they need. Do you know what I mean? So that's my answer.
My answer would be, I'm just going to be very honest with this. I still struggle with self-doubt. I still struggle with nerves. And for me to brush off that, I just get up every day and just be myself. Like Nadia said, that is ultimately all you can do, is put your best self forward and do something every day that's just going to make you proud of yourself. Do something productive. Just be yourself. And regardless of how I do in this competition, right now at this moment in time, I'm just so grateful to be in the top 12. And I'm so grateful that regardless of my self-doubt, regardless of my nerves, I managed to put that application forward. And just to be here today, I like to take baby steps at a time and just be thankful for every moment. I'm a very grateful person, and I just like being grateful for every little milestone that I achieve. And right now I am delighted with everything that's happened and where I am right now in my life. I couldn't be any more grateful, and I feel blessed to be here. And like I said, I would be lying to myself and lying to you if I said I didn't have self-doubt, if I didn't have nerves. But just staying positive and just showing gratitude in everything you do and every single day is a good way of overcoming any of that self-doubt and just being proud of yourself. Yeah.
And just sorry to add on, and it's only because I mentioned it at the start, I think this is where your support system come in really important. And like I referred to them earlier on to you, Lexi, as hype people, because they hype you up and they make you feel like you're invincible. They are your biggest cheerleaders. Yeah. And you don't need to have a million of them. A few good friends who really care are your hype people. And again, whenever you're not feeling your best self, that's like the time where you just need to send them a message and say, look, I'm not feeling it. Can we talk it out? And it's not that they need to blow up your ego. It's just that you need to be able to voice that doubt and kind of rationalize it a little bit. I would talk to Chloe if I'm not feeling it quite often, with my partner, with my friends, and even like meeting you online, Lexi. That made me feel so amazing. Like I was just like, oh my goodness, like this girl actually cares. She cares what we're doing.
Yeah.
And being able to have conversations with you and all of that can really make you as a contestant and as a person feel like you can do it. Do you know what I mean? Whenever you're having those days where you just are not too sure.
Support systems are definitely everything. For a very long time, my grandma was my support system, and I sort of would call her for everything, even silly things. Like I got in trouble for something at home, I'd call her and be like, you would never guess what mom and dad did. And she would like call my mom and be like, oh, what happened? And my mom would be like, well, she's just being over dramatic. But she was always my support and was always there for everything. She always told me that she'd be there for everything. And when she got sick, it was harder because she'd already gone through so much and I didn't want to like burden her. And I was having, I remember, a lot of boy trouble at the time. And I wanted to be like, I want to call my grandma and be like, what the heck do I do about this stupid boy? And the last time I saw her before she passed, she told me not to let boys like get into my head and affect me. And I have used that advice for almost everything. Even when it's on a boy that's upsetting me, I have used it for pageantry where, you know, maybe this turn I just did wasn't exactly perfect, but it's okay. I still did my best. And I feel like even though she's no longer physically here, like I still have that support. And my family, especially the extended family, have really almost stepped in a little more than they used to. And I think they're trying to sort of supplement for her not being here.
Lovely.
What skills and life lessons that you have gained from pageants do you think will most best translate into your post-pageant life?
Do you want to go first, Nadia, or will I go first?
You can go first.
I think for me, pageantry has helped me in so many different areas of life, whether it be making friends, because when you're doing pageants, you're there along with a group of other girls who have the same hopes and the same dreams, and through you introducing yourself to meet them and becoming friends with them, that helps you in future situations, whether it be in the workplace, and it just helps you to communicate with people and build friendships with people. And a big one for me with pageantry has been interviews, because you know yourself, pageant interviews can be quite difficult. They can be quite nerve-wracking. And if you can do a pageant interview, you can do any interview. So in future jobs, like that interview process is just made that much easier, because through pageantry you learn to be able to speak about yourself and actually be positive about yourself. Because like I said, that thing in Ireland where we find it really tough to be positive about ourselves, or we feel nervous even to hype ourselves up in a good way, pageantry helps you promote your best aspects and put your best self forward. So I think for the likes of interviews, that is probably one of the most important things that I've gained from pageantry, and the ability of meeting people and even having the confidence. If you can walk on stage with your bikini on, you can do anything. So overall, as a whole, it has helped build my confidence, and I've always been an extremely nervous person. I've had stage fright since I was little. I went to do a karaoke contest when I was little. I must have been about 6 or 7. I went to get on the stage, and as soon as the music started playing, I ran back off that stage. And I always had this fear in the back of my head. Am I still that nervous little girl? No, because I was able to walk on stage in a pageant in my bikini. And I've been able to walk into a pageant interview and put my best self forward. So overall, if it hadn't been for pageants, I probably still would be that very nervous little girl that ran away from the karaoke contest. And I would probably be having panic attacks before every interview. But at the moment, I'm fine. So I feel like pageantry has helped me a lot.
No, I completely agree with Chloe. There's so many skills that you learn in a pageant that are transferable to so many aspects of life. To name a few, obviously Chloe had mentioned the making friends and aiding your communication, both in interview and just in typical practice. You're typically around 30 girls at a national level. So here anyway, it's usually around 30. You're having to share space with those girls. You're having to try and communicate effectively, as well as with the team, to present yourself in the best way possible, but also pull off this massive event. And then, like Chloe said, there's the interview, which can be really tough. And you have, 2 minutes, sometimes 4 or 5 minutes to present your whole self and why you deserve this job. Whereas other interviews are at least an hour. For me, before pageantry, so pageantry made a big difference in my life. Before pageantry, in school, I could not have read a sentence out of a book in English class without shaking. I was so terrified. Whereas, because I've now taken part in pageants, my actual job, and my job for the past 3 years, has been getting in front of crowds of people and training them in mental health and talking to them, starting really difficult conversations with people from 10 years old up to 60 years old, getting them to talk about things that make them really vulnerable and make me very vulnerable, to better raise awareness and prepare them for the future. Then aside from that, networking, I never could have seen myself networking or walking up to someone I didn't know and just saying, hello, my name is Nadia. But when you're in a pageant, you meet so many different people whilst you're taking part in that, never mind having to try and find sponsors and things like that. Now, another half of my job is networking and telling people what a great charity I work for, which if you'd asked me when I was 18 or even 20, would I ever do that? You could not have paid me enough to do that job, whereas now I love it. It's so strange to me that I haven't been in front of kids and spoke to them now. And kids, they're your hardest audience. Trust me, they'll ask you anything. But no, I think it does. It helps to make you a more well-rounded person. And you learn so much from the people that you meet, even about other social causes. And having a better understanding of those then helps you to make a bigger impact and a better impact, I think. So I highly recommend it to anybody.
That's amazing, Nadia.
Really are such harsh critics at times. Okay, so a final few questions for you guys. Can either of you speak the Irish language, whether it be fluently or just bits and pieces?
For me, sadly not.
It's actually funny you missed.
But not anymore. Long gone.
It's actually funny you mentioned that. I was actually having a discussion with my friend a few weeks ago, where there's now apps put in place where it makes learning languages a lot easier. So I actually wrote it down on my things to do is to learn Irish, because one thing that's very sad was, I'm pretty sure it was on the news last year or else the year before, but we actually have an emergency service line in Ireland that the person in the emergency services answers the phone and speaks to you in Irish. And that number was only rang once that year. So out of the entire year, people were ringing the emergency services, everyone rang up the English line and only one person rang up the Irish line, which goes to show that the Irish language is sadly dying out. So I really want to make it my mission to learn that, so that I could pass it on to future generations, because it'd be really sad to see it leave. And I just feel really guilty for not having learned it already. And whenever I heard that story, that made me quite sad that only one person used that service that year. So yeah, we definitely have to get the word going again, because we don't want it to die out.
Yeah, that would be, it's such a pretty language. I love listening to songs in Irish, and just the stories of how people like Grania O'Malley came to England. She was like, well, I don't speak English and you don't speak Irish, so let's talk in Latin. It's just the stronger, I don't want to call it like a folk hero since she was a real person, but the people like that and how the older stories, there's something so magical about hearing it in the native compared to like the boring English. I'm always like, English.
Yeah.
But
it's something that a lot of the schools that I would be in now are focusing on more so now, because we always get asked now to do a lot of our materials in Irish, so it's really nice to see that there's more kind of uptake on that as well. I've heard Duolingo was very good.
Yes.
For learning
I think that is that app. Yeah, I think that's the app I was told to download. Yeah, me and my friend were chatting about it a few weeks ago.
My best friend and I both have Duolingo, and for a while we were doing super strong about taking our Irish lessons every day. And what's nice about it is you tell the little app, they'll be like, okay, well, how much time do you have to practice today? And it's like from 5 minutes all the way up to like an hour. So it really does work on your schedule. And I believe they'll do that for any language, not just the Irish portion.
That's good to know. It's definitely something that...
Is there anything you want to tell us in Irish? Do you want to teach us a few words now?
I do not trust my skills enough, sadly.
Will we have a private lesson first, and then we'll come back on in a couple weeks?
Yeah, we'll have a private lesson after.
Yeah, I would really appreciate that.
Oh, a big thing I hear from people all the time is like traditional Irish foods. When people go to Ireland, they're always like, you have to try these traditional foods. Do you guys have a go-to of the traditional side that you go to a pub or something and you're like, okay, if I'm getting traditional fare, this is the one dish?
The Irish stew, definitely. I feel like you can't go to an Irish pub or to an Irish event without getting a nice hot pot of stew.
Especially at this time of year, because it's completely chilled to the bones. And typically you could just go into any bar. You know what I mean? Go into the bar and you'll get like Chloe said, a nice like hot pot, and it'll just like warm you up so much. And then obviously you see how everyone else takes theirs, like what they add to it, and you know.
Actually, the funniest story tonight. Oh, my little dog's barking. My mom told my nana she was making her stew tonight, and my mom was like, "Dinner's ready," and my nana comes up and like, "Yes, I can't wait for my stew." And my mom's like, "Oh, sorry, I made sausages tonight. I'll make your stew tomorrow." And she was like, "I thought I was getting stew." She was so funny. She was just like so upset that she wasn't getting her stew.
Bless. Okay, and for the final question, at least for this, we'll have to schedule another time as well. Why should you be the next Miss Universe Ireland?
I'll let you go first, Chloe.
This is a very hard question. I feel like in 2020, like Nadia said, every single one of these girls are so different. And what I personally believe is any single one of these girls would make an incredible Miss Universe Ireland. I would be grateful to have this position because I feel like it's something that I've always dreamed about my entire life. But like I said, any of the girls would be incredible for the role, and I would be so proud of any of the girls to be representing my beautiful country. And I am just so honored and so grateful even to have this top 12 position. I am the most grateful person in the world with that. And of course, like anyone else, I would love to go to Miss Universe. But I'm just on top of the world right now and so grateful for the opportunity.
Yeah, just like Chloe said, we're all 12 of us are so diverse, and obviously this year looks very different to the typical pageant year. So we're all kind of slowly getting to know each other through our Zoom calls and playing games on the pageant project and even just on social media. And everyone has so much to bring to the table. And what I think is really special is we're all trying to actively learn off of each other, which is so important. So obviously I think there's so many candidates that would do an amazing job. I know from my skill set, well, firstly, I think it's about time there's a redhead up there. Very I think it's about time.
Last year, I said
it. There has not been a redhead yet.
And our last redhead was like top 10, I believe. Internationals, Rosanna Purcell.
Yeah. She did very well. Yeah.
Yes, they love the redheads.
I just think we need to get another one up there.
I agree. I agree.
But as well, I think this year, because it is so different and everything is going to be so fast paced, I know that I have the drive to do it and I have the motivation to do it. And I know that with a little bit of training from the right team, I'm completely ready to give it a shot. So I would love the opportunity to do it. Let's just see if I can show the judges that. But again, like Chloe had said, any of the girls out of the top 12, anyone who gets chosen to go, I'll be right there cheering them on from my bedroom laptop. Because I know whoever does win is going to do us so proud.
They will. They definitely will. And if you win, Nadia, I will find a way of getting to Vegas so that I can be there because I am not missing that. Even if it means me isolating in some random country for 14 days, I'll be there.
Oh, you're the best. And the thing is, I know you would. I know you totally would.
I would. I'll go back to Antigua for 14 days.
Ooh. Do that.
Okay.
So for anybody wanting to follow your journeys to the crown, where can they find you?
Oh, me. On Instagram, I am at Chloelouisedaviess with 2 S's at the end. And on Facebook, I don't really use it as much. Maybe I should start using it again. But if you search Chloelouisedaviess, I'll probably come up there somewhere. My cover photo has Shrek in it, so you'll find. So yeah, that's my socials.
I use Instagram most, and then I'll share to Facebook. But I'm usually on Instagram, and I'm at littlered.s. And if you want to get my Facebook, it's Nadia Sayers, and drop me a message anytime. I'm always looking for a chat.
Me too.
Guys, so much for doing this. Absolutely amazing. Even just
so much
meeting you guys proper.
This was so lovely. Thank you.
Oh no, it's been so sweet. I've loved it as well. We should have like more group calls. Maybe even ones in private. If there's anything anyone wants to talk about, I'm always here.
Good luck on your journeys. I will be watching and cheering you on.
Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
Guys will bring home the crown.
Oh, thank you, beautiful. I've had an amazing time tonight, and thank you for being so welcoming. And it's just been an honor to be here. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
See ya.